think there is nothing better. Honestly, I don't think there's anything better. Well, there probably is things better than this, but in studying architecture. God, I look tired. Not looking my finest. Good morning, ladies and gents. That's better. Cover up the bed hair. Great idea, Tom. Let's get the day going. To answer your question, I don't normally wake up at 8 AM. In the week, I usually aim for probably about 8:15 because I start work at 9. But at the weekends, I try and wake up a little bit later. Today is Saturday, and you're probably thinking, why are you getting up at 8 AM? I have heard of the 5 AM club. I tried at 5 AM for a week. It killed me. But I think 5 AM is pushing it a little bit, and I personally can't hack it because I just need my sleep, and I love my sleep, and I enjoy my sleep. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I was going with that. Honestly, some of these transitions, God, it's a bit chilly this morning. Beautiful morning. Kinda. Excuse me. Next question. I'm gonna blur this one out. How do you spend your free time? Well, that's an absolutely fantastic question from this anonymous person. Wonderful question. How do I spend my free time? And I definitely think it's time for a haircut. Bingo, fixed up. I've also just grabbed myself a mango and passion fruit cooler and chicken fajita wrap. I waited half an hour in a drive-through for this, so it best be good. And I thought I'd just carry on with the Q&A being sat down because I think it'd just be easier, just be sat in an environment, sitting and chatting. Next question, best experiences so far as a result of your YouTube? I think I've had a couple of experiences where I thought like, wow, I've got this because of what I do, essentially. One of them is when I went to London to model for a bodybuilding campaign. That was pretty cool. I got that through YouTube, and they'd kind of scouted me out through Instagram and YouTube. Even the other day, I did a event for the RIBA Future Architects in Practice, which was like unbelievable, obviously presenting for the RIBA, being asked to be a special guest speaker for the RIBA was obviously unbelievable. And obviously having the opportunity to interview cool people on my podcast is also kind of like a big highlight of my channel. Next question, thoughts on the signing of Thomas Partey, hashtag no Thomas, no party. Best signing of the summer in the Premier League. Next question, would you ever consider starting your own business? Absolutely. It is definitely at the forefront of my mind at the moment. I keep thinking about it. I'm obviously currently working hard as a apartment architecture assistant, so I haven't really given it too much thought, but maybe in a couple of years' time I probably will kick off my own business. And obviously the YouTube, the Instagram is just building up my studio, building up me as a brand, and then eventually I will turn that into some kind of business. Did you ever worry about the balance between YouTube growth and architecture career? Absolutely. I didn't know how I was going to balance it at all. I didn't know how I was going to balance being able to film videos, edit videos, upload videos every week, multiple times a week while studying architecture. But it's just one of them things that I just did it in the end. I just managed to find a routine that would allow me to do everything. And obviously I thought about it a lot during summer, and obviously before starting to work, it was quite a difficult time thinking, how was I going to be able to continue filming? What was I going to be able to film throughout obviously working as an architecture assistant? But I think you just end up finding ways in the end. You kind of find ways to kind of tackle that challenge in the end. Obviously doing sit down videos like a Q&A is obviously very easy to do. Vlogs are a little bit different at the moment because I'm quite busy working. But you always have to find ways around it and kind of find ways of doing everything at the same time. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is first year of architecture school? It's a difficult one because when you're actually studying architecture in first year, you think it's probably the hardest thing you're ever going to do because you dive yourself into the deep end. It is quite daunting, it's quite a lot of work, and you kind of have to switch yourself up and put yourself in gear to be able to get through first year. But then at the same time, when you come out of first year and you go in second year and you go in third year, you look back at first year and it's literally nothing. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably say a 5 because obviously it's very difficult whilst you're doing it. but then when you come out the other end, you look back and you think how easy it is. What is the biggest thing you've learned from studying / working in the architecture field? That nothing is ever correct, or nothing is ever right, because architecture is very subjective and you can't do anything perfectly. You can't do anything that's going to suit everyone's opinions. So you can literally explore essentially whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You've got the opportunity to explore whatever you want, especially when you're studying architecture. Obviously, it's very different when you're in practice. You're being told to do a certain task. You have to follow certain regulations, and obviously that has to be correct. So that's a different, obviously, situation essentially. But when you're studying, you have the opportunity to explore as many ideas and concepts as you possibly want. You have the possibility to design and create concepts that might be completely out of this world. And also another thing is I learned the importance in balance, because throughout my time there was a lot of time where I'd kind of prioritize my work and not really my mental well-being or my health, essentially. So throughout the 3 years I began to learn how important it was to balance your lifestyle and to make sure that you're getting in enough sleep, you're getting in your healthy meals, you're seeing your family and friends, you're socialising, as well as obviously keeping on top of your uni work. And I think that's like quite a big one that's very often overlooked. It's a quick lunch break. This is cold. I think Costa is definitely worth a half an hour wait. ArchiCAD or Revit? I've never used ArchiCAD. I've never really heard of ArchiCAD. I've heard of a couple of my peers that have used ArchiCAD in practice or whatnot. But I personally think Revit is the software at the moment. It's the software. It's so important. All of the practices are using it. It's so easy to run. It's easy to get to grips with. It's easy to coordinate between different companies, and the kind of BIM is really important with Revit. So I'd definitely say Revit is something you need to learn and you should push yourself to learn. Do I really require an iPad as a first year architecture student? Absolutely not. Don't get an iPad, especially in first year, because I think first year you need to really encourage yourself to have a pen in hand and paper or tracing paper to be able to get those thoughts into ideas on paper and getting those ideas down. And I think an iPad will kind of prevent you from doing that. Most rewarding thing about studying architecture / working in the architecture field? I think there is nothing better. Honestly, I don't think there's anything better. Well, there probably is things better than this, but in studying architecture is if you've kind of put your head down and you've worked extremely hard for 3 months to put together a set of panels or a portfolio and pinning that work up on the wall, doing your presentation, and then just walking away from university with that work up on the wall, knowing that you've put your heart and soul into that, you've put blood, sweat and tears into that work, and you've kind of left it there. The presentation is done, and you know you can go home for summer for 3 months to do absolutely nothing with your life. I honestly don't think there's anything better than that. Especially, I think the best time to walk away is when it's Christmas, when you know that you've got 3 weeks worth of rest where you can relax, you've got time with your family and friends because of Christmas, and Christmas is by far the best time of the year. We're heading towards winter at the moment and I absolutely love it. I just love the cold weather and it's just amazing. So just before Christmas, when you pin up your work and you walk away from that work, you present and you just leave, I think that is the best thing, the best feeling, the most kind of rewarding feeling, knowing that you've put your heart and soul into that. And then obviously coming out the other end, hopefully with a good grade, that's even better feeling because you think, oh my word, like all that work was obviously worth it and it all paid off. So usually at Christmas when I was at university, on the last day when we would hand the work in and drive home, it was an hour drive home from Birmingham to Nottingham, and I would play Driving Home for Christmas on repeat for the whole hour. Literally just driving home for Christmas, listening to Driving Home for Christmas. And honestly, I don't think there's any better feeling than that, especially studying such a hectic subject. Are we in trouble as architects because of Corona? Oh, why I said Rona. I personally don't know. But I think we probably are a little bit because obviously of the recession at the moment. It is, especially for architecture students at the moment, it is probably the worst time to graduate and to find a job because not many companies are hiring. Not many companies are going to know if they're going to be able to hire people. They don't know if they're going to have the money. They don't know if they're going to have the work to be able to get people in. They're making people redundant. They're getting people out of the office because they know they can't afford them at the moment because they might not have enough work. So I don't really know as an architect, because I'm not quite there yet, I don't really understand what's going on at the moment in the world of architecture. But I do think as an architecture student, it is the hardest time to graduate and hardest time to find a job. And I do really kind of sympathise for everyone else out there that is really kind of struggling to get a job. And I think it's just important to know that you are not on your own. A lot of people out there aren't getting a job. If you are getting constantly rejected by companies, don't take it to heart, because essentially they're just can't hire and they're not in a position to hire. Obviously, a lot of companies aren't really replying to students, which I think is quite difficult, because it's quite disheartening. Obviously, putting together putting together an application package that you've kind of really worked hard at, to be able to send that out to a company and them not kind of give you any feedback at all. I think it is really difficult. But I think as architect students at the moment, really focus on just being proactive and keep on applying and just being relentless with it. And I think eventually you will get there. I think that's a really important mindset to have at the moment, because it's very difficult to get a job at the moment. And I've been very lucky to be able to get myself in a position where I'm working now as an architecture assistant. And that is going to be a wrap on today's video. My voice is going, as you can tell, because I'm waffling on. Excuse me. So that is going to be a wrap on today's video. Obviously, I would normally do my vlog, but I didn't really have the time this week. So I thought I'd sit down and do a Q&A with you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Peace.